I'm Julia West, and today I am asking Michelle Saacks some questions that I've put together. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to be able to interview you. My first question is, did you think that music theory would squash your creative abilities?
I started playing when I was 3, so really, I think I was playing more than I ever did any. And I started out, my mum had a piano in the house, and I sat down and I believe, the story is that I did that, and played French opera, but not the French accent. And I came to theory later, and actually the way that I learned theory initially was, Royal Schools of Music kind of thing, where you just filled out theory workbooks. But nobody ever really explained to me how it all fitted together. I think it wasn't until I got to... I know that I did my early bands and things when I was doing stuff like, let's see, I don't think I was really aware, when I did that, I was suddenly, this is a 2-5, a 2 to a 3, in the key of B flat. I wasn't thinking like that. And I got to New York and I started studying jazz, with the guys there, and people like Barry Harris wouldn't say, per se, this is a 2-5-1. But then when I got up to the jazz and I was learning people like Sharon Freeman and George Caples, and Lenny Matthews, they stressed that it was very important to have the theory behind you. To understand the theory, to be able to hear it, and to be able to play it. So that if you suddenly saw a 2-5, that's second nature. Because then if you want to add, you can add without thinking. You're not thinking about what are the notes in A minor. So it's definitely, I think, very, very helpful having the theory as an underpinning, but I don't think it's always taught properly. I think it's taught as a separate thing that has nothing whatsoever to do with what you're playing. So, you learn, little nice little, Billy goes to market kind of like theory game, but nobody says that B is there. So it doesn't make any sense, does that?
Yeah, I understand. So I think you just answered that, but you have the ability to play just by ear, or do you rely totally on notation?
I was playing from when I was 3. I was playing by ear, and in fact, my first teachers, I don't think they had any idea, because they'd say something like, play the whole piece. I said, do you like it, Michelle? Yes. And I would then play it back to them.
So from hearing.
Just from hearing it. So my reading was really horrible for years. And when I got to I was very, very young when I got to music college. I was 16, and therefore, probably nervous about things, things like reading. And even then, nobody taught me how to read formulaically or in terms of understanding shapes. A lot of the things that I do when I teach, nobody taught me like that. So it was a Greek, you put a big Chopin etude in front of me, and I found it terrifying. Whereas really, if you understand Chopin, you understand how he uses his chords, the shapes, what genre. If you're thinking romantic, you think about what kind of harmonization. It's very, very helpful when you learn a piece, because then you're learning it, understanding theory as a language.
Yeah. But did you have a block then with your reading ability up until the age of 16? Was there a block?
I don't think it was a block. I think that when I got to I know that if I got called to do sessions, there would be a niggling thing in the back of my mind, oh, they didn't throw something up. And if they did throw something up, I was much more interested in playing my version and extrapolating what I wanted from it and trying to keep it true to what it should be. I mean, obviously not something like, you know, I'm not going to rewrite Bach, because Bach is wonderful. But I might play something, you know. You know, where I bring in some Baroque kind of stuff, you know, or some big kind of Bach, Chopin. Sorry, no, Beethoven. You know, I mean, but I think reading to me has always been a message from the composer, or a way of notating. I'm doing a lot of gigs in a lot of different styles. The notation is excruciatingly important for me, and sometimes all I need is a little, you know, I'll scribble 5 lines, the clef, and write in a little kind of riff.
Yeah.
That when you do the gig with me, you'll go, oh, she remembered. Because I find that for myself, because I like to create as I go, that if there are specific things that are necessary to the piece or very important aspects, you know, I'm trying to think of you know, even if I take a tiny bit from the beginning in the middle there, you recognise it as a pattern, and if you do that song, you want to hear that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I'll scribble down in my book, so that when I'm on stage and, you know, we get to that particular song, I can remember the aspect, because I have a tendency to look at, I'm like, you know, in the middle of a show, I'll look at the music and I'll go, what's that? Oh, right, you know, if I have the melody written there. So I think notation is very, very important for that. But I think notation is too often taught as a separate being, a totally separate being to the rest of it. So, and on to your next question.
So, has music theory improved your musical ability?
Beyond scale, without a doubt. I mean, when I got to the Jazzmobile, which is where they really were, I mean, I was a young female jazz musician, English accent, you know, in New York, up in Harlem, trying to learn to play jazz. So there was Sharon Freeman sat me down. She was a jazz player, and she said to me, "You have to be better than every single man in the room if you're going to get anywhere at all." And it really was like, you know, really was like that. And then you're going to have to know how to kind of demonstrate, you know, what you're doing without embarrassing anybody's, you know, can't step on any toes in terms of, anyway, but I think that it's an underpinning that helps you, you know, and then the magic comes, so that you're not thinking anymore, you know, I'm playing an A minor. And just a whole big vista opens up, and that's the magic of it. So I think that really does help to be learned, and certainly in New York, because of the high level of musicianship there. If you don't understand notation, you're not going to get much work really, because people don't have the time to give you the opportunity to go round and round and round learning something. You know, but not to take away from people that come up without any training, because they're, you know, it depends on what you want to do with the music. I mean, if you want to spend 20 years in a room and become like the Rolling Stones, I'm casting aspersions here, I don't know if musical training or which is bad of me, sorry. But and I don't mean to, you know, but in other words, if you want to go with that total band thing, where you're going to spend the same time, same musicians, and you're going to get to know each other inside and out, the music you're going to make is going to be absolutely fantastic. Brilliant, man. You know, how do you start? Well, I love doing that. There's no technique. That's my own personal technique. I'm flat down there. So anybody can work their own way into it. Okay? But it's a communication that you miss. That's the one aspect. It's communication. It's me being able to say to you, Julia, I can't make the gig tonight. I'm just going to give you my book, and you can make the gig. And if you have all of your stuff together, you will be able to do it. That's the first thing. And the other thing is, it allows you globally to experience music that you might not have experienced otherwise.
Yeah, and for me, I'm always afraid, like you said before, if someone throws something up in a song, and I'm used to doing it in one way,
Right.
and because I'm lacking the
Right.
theory knowledge, I'm going to be completely lost.
Yeah, because you don't have that other thing to fall back on. You know, I mean, if I'm writing a riff for a gig, it's making sure I have the correct intonation, that the rhythm's correct, as opposed to what I might change it slightly in my head. If I write it down, then I can make sure. So it's like recalling history across the ages by memory or writing it down, and I use all of it. I don't use the music as much as the head, but I do know the music, and that's what makes it different.
Okay, so has this knowledge changed the way you play your instrument?
Well, hopefully it continues changing it, and will continue until well past when I'm dead. I mean, I think every time I play something, okay, I just did that. Try it again. Just the same kind of. Okay. So all I'm doing. All right. So. All right. I'm just making. I'll put another key. Let's see what happens then. So, what did I just do? 2, 5, 3. Every time I make up something, it's going to sound slightly different. And that's still quite close into genre. I didn't change it, let's see. Some of it is meets me in my head, but some of it is because I've listened to things and been able to formulate what they are. Some of it is not. Some of it is just I heard it somewhere and I liked it. I think it's all tangled up together, and I think if you don't do the theory, I think ultimately you lose out. Would I prefer to do it or not? I like to have it. Because it opens more worlds.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do.